Hey guys, it's Hannah and I'm here today with a tag video for you. So for this tag video, I'm doing it a little more casual. So I'm gonna try something out that I've never done. I'm gonna do a screen record. So this tag is the Goodreads got it wrong, or the Goodreads was wrong book tag. This is originally started by Gabby over at Gabs.books. I will leave a link to her channel down below. She's a very good friend of mine, and I highly recommend checking out her channel if you haven't already. So I'm going to start my screen record here. Hopefully you will see it here. And well, let's get on into it. I love stats, and I'm kind of like, I hate math, but I love stats. So I thought this idea was very fun and interesting. So I haven't done any prep work. I have no idea how well this is gonna work. And then let's just get on into it and see how it works. I have Gabby's video plugged up on here, so she gives the instructions on how to do it, and I've got the questions. I've got my computer here on my Goodreads page, and we're gonna look it up here, and I also have my tea to sip along with it, because I just wanted to be cozy during this video, so that's what's happening. First question first is, what is the highest rated book that you gave a low rating? So it says, sort your books in Goodreads based on average ratings and find the highest rated book you gave a low rating. Okay, so the first one that I pulled up that I guess is the closest to my discrepancy is, I rated it at 3 out of 5 stars. Goodreads average rated it a 4.55 stars, and that is The House of Hades by Rick Riordan. That's number 4. And I don't know necessarily, like, I don't think 3 out of 5 stars is that low a rating, but compared to almost 5 out of 5 stars, that's a pretty big discrepancy. And if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know that I'm not the biggest Rick Riordan fan. I'm not the biggest Percy Jackson fan. I like the idea of the books. I like the idea and the characters, but I'm not a big fan of actually Percy. So I didn't love Percy Jackson, and this is the second series of that. And I think that he showed up in this one. If I remember correctly, this is the one that he comes back in, because I liked the Heroes of Olympus a lot better than the Percy Jackson series. So that is why I think I rated that one lower than the rest of them. It showed back up in it. Question number 2 is, what is the lowest rated book that you gave a high rating? So it says, we're gonna sort your books in Goodreads based on average rating in reverse order and find the lowest rated book you gave a low rating. Okay, so I think one of the biggest ones, I guess, is Perfect on Paper, which I read back in 2012, and I vaguely remember this. It had to do with crossword puzzles, and let's pull it up here. It was a contemporary. Oh man, there's some bad ratings on this book. So I don't particularly remember this since this was 6 years ago, but all I remember was that it was cute, it was contemporary. I wasn't really looking for like in-depth character growth. I wasn't being too critical on it, so that's probably why I rated it like a 4 out of 5 stars when the average rating is 3.14, which is pretty bad. So I'm thinking maybe if I reread this, I would maybe not like it as much. It doesn't stick out in my mind, and it probably doesn't deserve a 4 out of 5 stars. But it might have back in 2012. Question number 3 is, what is the most popular book you disagree with the average rating? So sort your books in Goodreads based on number of ratings and find the first book you disagree with the average rating. Okay, so we are doing as Gabby says and doing the average rating here. I tend to agree with a lot of the popular ones besides that House of Hades, which I mean that is a popular book, but that's kind of cheating and doing both. I really hope I'm doing this tag right, because I like looking at stats like this. I love how some of these I haven't even rated, and I'm like, what was I doing in 2014 that I didn't rate this? Like, odd. I think this is where, before I really started using Goodreads, that I didn't rate them, I just added them, that I read it to get recommendations. All the times before YouTube where I didn't have BookTube, before I didn't have enough recommendations to read. Okay, so instead of doing the average rating, which that's what Gabby says to look at, I'm doing my rating instead, and then I'm adjusting it from there. So, like, one of the biggest things is one of my favorite books of all time that I've read 5 out of 5 stars, and average rating is 3.9, and that's a pretty big discrepancy with that. So this is the All You Can Dream Buffet by Barbara O'Neill. This is a super cute book, and totally Goodreads has definitely got this wrong. I just recently recommended this in one of my videos. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's so good. It's about 4 foodie bloggers who meet over the internet and they decide to finally come together. There's this older woman who owns a lavender field, and her 2 nephews want to vie, like, she's dying and she's getting older, so she is working out her will, and she doesn't want to give her land that she has cultivated and loved to these 2 vulture nephews who are just going to sell it off. So she is trying to find an heir with these 3 foodie friends that she's never met before. So she has a big birthday party, and they come from clear across the country, and they finally interact, and they've got different walks of life, and it's so good and it's so different. Like, you can, so many people can pull different things out of it and relate to different characters, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I recommend you check it out. So Goodreads definitely got this one wrong. So if you guys actually look, my version of Goodreads looks a little different than Gabby's. Mine, I don't have a number ratings, so I can't tell from this. Maybe I'm looking at it weird. Mine doesn't show, mine doesn't show the number ratings, so I'm just gonna have to wing it. Okay, so I'm just doing it this way. I'm doing it my ratings and then see what the discrepancy is. And I gave a 1 out of 5 stars to Scarlett Epstein Hates It Here, and it's got an average of 3.49, and let me tell you, this book was trash. I did not like it. I'm sorry. I'm not, if you liked it, good for you, but I did not like it. I thought the characters were whiny. I couldn't get through it. I ended up actually DNFing this book, and I very rarely DNF books, and I really didn't. She was whiny. She was unrelatable. The only good part about the entire book was the grandma, and the stoner grandma. Otherwise, I didn't like any of it. Question number 5 is choose 2 books that have an average rating of 3 out of 5 stars, but you gave a higher rating. That's like all of them. Let's see. So right now I'm scrolling down to find my 4 out of 5 star books and then see which ones I've given 4 out of 5 stars to that are lower. Okay, so here we go. We're starting to get into my 4s. First one that I gave a 4 out of 5 stars to that has a 3.55 stars, which is Dark Avengers Volume 2. I don't really remember what this is about. I mean, it's obviously a Dark Avengers Molecule Man. Oh, I actually really enjoyed this one. They broke apart into like these different molecules, and he could transform into whatever he wanted. This was actually really interesting. So I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and Goodreads, the average is 3.55. So I've got a lot of ones that are like, the average is like 3.6, which is pretty close to 3.5, and I'm seeing if there's anything else that I gave a higher rating to. I tend to agree with Goodreads apparently. Oh, here we go. The Christmas Wedding by James Patterson. Who knew I read a James Patterson book? And I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. I am a sucker for cheesy holiday like Christmas books. Give me all the Christmas vibes, and this is the one that, like, if I remember correctly, there was like a wedding in a barn, and it was very Christmassy, and I don't know so much about the writing, how the writing was good, but I mean, I was in it for the Christmas feels, and that's all I cared about, because I read this back in 2012, and before I really got back into reading, I made a tradition with Trevor that every Christmas I would get a mug and a book, and we would both get books on Christmas Eve, and we would stay up reading them, and that was our tradition because we didn't read 24/7 like we do now. And so every year we would pick out a book, and we would download it off of like Kindle and have it like that night, and we'd read and before we fell asleep. That was part of our like Christmas tradition, which we no longer do because we read like 24/7 now, so it's, yeah. But so I wanted just something Christmassy and fluffy and happy, so I picked that, and that was, although it says I read it on June 12th. Granted, a lot of these I put on here I read it June 12th, so I probably didn't read it during June 12th. I probably just like uploaded it then, but yeah, that's my, or they added it. This says choose 2 books that have an average rating of 3 out of 5 stars, but you gave a lower rating. So that's the Scarlett Epstein Hates It Here. I gave it 1 out of 5 stars, and it had an average of about 3.49, so pretty close. And then I gave a 2 out of 5 stars to The Sisterhood of Traveling Pants, and the average is 3.77. To be completely honest, I don't even remember reading this. We could also do Love, Life, and the List. I gave a 2 out of 5 stars, and the average is 3.83, which I read this year, and that's also crap because the romance in it, the entire part you read contemporaries is for the romance, and the romance is crap and did not promote a good, healthy relationship. It was terrible. Choose 2 books that have an average rating of 4 out of 5 stars, but you gave a lower rating. 4 out of 5 stars. Well, that's pretty close to Love, Life, and the List. Another one marked by PC Cast that I still get so much hate on that video. Go check it out. I still get hate to this day on that video. I rated it a 2 out of 5 stars, and the average is 3.79. If you want to know why I think that book is crap, go watch that review video. This is a bit of a discrepancy. We've got The Vision Volume 1, and I rated this a 3 out of 5 stars. The average rating is 4.26, so I just wasn't blown away by this. I liked the idea of Vision having a family, but it just was not entertaining, and nothing really happened that much in it. And it was basically like AIs trying to fit in with the world, and that was basically it. So that's why I got such a low rating. Well, it's not even that low rating, it's just average. Choose 2 books that have an average rating of 2 out of 5 stars, but you gave a higher rating. So I'm gonna go back and switch the average rating to the lowest. So the first X-Men has an average rating of 2.91, which is my lowest book, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I probably gave it just a 3 in the very least because it's X-Men and I like the X-Men. And that's my lowest one. That lowest book that I've ever read or rated. The average rating is the lowest there. And then number 9 is, do you tend to agree or disagree with the Goodreads average rating, and do you use your Goodreads as a guide for books you want to read? I tend to agree with Goodreads. There's some very few that I don't agree with. And yeah, I mean, because I tend to not want to like rate things super low, so I'm pretty terrible about that. That if something I don't like, I will give it like a 3. Like, it's like okay, because I'm like, that artist put their entire life into this. Like, how dare I rate a 1 out of 5 stars? Like, I just that you put so much effort into just putting it out into the world, and I salute you for that. So I never rate too low, and so I tend to fall in that nice medium that I've got there. But I do tend to look for, I used to use Goodreads as a guide for recommendations. Now more so I trust my booktube friends to give me good recommendations, and I trust their word versus Goodreads, because some of those Goodreads, like, people don't look at it like critically. God, I definitely didn't used to look at it critically, so I've got some like 5-star reads from 2012 that I'm like, what is this? Like, this is terrible. If you guys are interested in like a video maybe of me rereading some of my old 5-star reads and see if I still think that they're as good, leave me a comment down below, because I think that if I went back and read some of my 5-star reads that I loved when I was a child, I'm sure I'd be like, good God, this is terrible. Like, I used to love the Click series. I'm sure if I reread some of those, I'd be like, holy crap, I cannot deal with this. I also picked up a long time ago one of my favorite series, like, and of course it's a vampire book. It's by Melissa De La Cruz. It's the Blue Bloods. I'll pop a picture up there. I just love this series, and I rebought them because I saw them at my used bookstore, and I was like, oh, I used to love these, thinking I was gonna reread them, and I haven't. But like, I look on here and they have some, I mean, it's some pretty bad ratings on here. So I think that would kind of be entertaining. Let me know down below if you guys would be interested in something like that. Like debunking my childhood favorites or my high school favorites books. And then number 10 is tag someone. Gabby already tagged a ton of them. A ton of people here. So I'm tagging Trisha from Tell Her a Story. I also want to tag Rhiannon from Crescent Moon Reads, Morgie from Morgie Reads, who else do I want to tag? And on the Fritz, I want to tag her too. She's adorable and she always comments on my stuff. So those are the few people that I've tagged on this video. It is quite complicated, but it's very interesting. I like it. Once you figure it out, it takes a minute, but it's fun to do. So leave me a comment down below letting me know if you want to see that video from me and what your biggest discrepancy is. What's a favorite book that you liked that you know if you would reread now, it would be terrible. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!